Hi, my name is Phil Borders. I'm a psychiatrist here in Central Indiana, and we are here to further our discussions on perfectionism. So the first thing to do with basically any change is you have to have awareness. Now, awareness is way more difficult than it would seem. For example, I used to think that I had this really good golf swing, and it's like, well, why do I suck so bad? And a friend of mine was just taking videos of everybody's golf swing, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, all right, that's why I stink so bad, because the golf swing was just hideous. Another example of awareness is my wife. She has perfectionistic traits, and sometimes I'll try to address those, to her and with her, and she'll give me that cold, steely-eyed look, and I know to back off and not go there. So she doesn't want to have the awareness, and hopefully she'll never actually watch this video because I'll get stabbed in the neck. So awareness is one quality you have to have. Another thing to form change is you have to have courage, and you have to have hard work. So if you're asked somebody who's perfectionistic to give up their perfectionism, you're asking them to give up a defense mechanism that they've been using probably for years and years and years, and then they understandably freak out. But when they learn that, hey, this is going to be a process, that we're going to do this over time, then it's much less scary. So one of the techniques that I use is called paradoxical intention. And this is a type of therapy that was originated with a psychiatrist, Jewish psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl. And he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he was a Jewish psychiatrist who was interned in a concentration camp. And he, just has a lot of really good insights into therapy and just life in general. So a really good book, and it's a really interesting process in which to help people fight their perfectionism. So paradoxical intention, a paradox is something that's seemingly absurd or contradictory, but nonetheless it's still true. And intention is obviously doing something on purpose. So what I tell people is like, okay, guess what? We have some goals for you. So the goal is for them to be the perfect imperfectionist. So the goal is intention. The perfect imperfectionist is the paradox. So it's one way to do that is to break that down into 4 parts. So the first part is people who have perfectionistic traits feel like they need a lot of reassurance. So reassurance is like a hit of cocaine. It feels good for a little bit until it wears off and you need another hit. The bad thing about reassurance is that you're giving your decision-making power to somebody else. So goal number 1 for them would be no more reassurance. Goal number 2, no more apologizing. People with perfectionism tend to apologize too much. Hey, sorry. And when you do that, you take your self-esteem and you just throw it in the trash. And so we say, no more apologizing unless it's really necessary, like if you step on my foot or something. Goal number 3 would be to encourage them to make mistakes and be okay with it. Because frankly, if you're not making mistakes, you're not in the game. And if you look at your really successful people, they are very okay with making mistakes. They learn from it and they move on. So we try to make mistakes as actually a goal, which is a little bit, again, paradoxical. Another goal is to disappoint people, to disappoint others. Again, the reason for that is if you can't disappoint people, then stay in bed because it's way too scary out there. And if you can't disappoint people, then you're owned. They own you. So no more reassurance, no more apologizing, make mistakes, disappoint others. So this is obviously quite difficult and takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work. But the end result is freedom. When people do this, they find out that 95% of their friends, family, coworkers, they're okay with it. They are 100% okay with them not being perfect. And as a matter of fact, people are way more attracted to imperfect people. They like people who are flawed. They like people who are realistic. They like people they can relate to. If you give the impression of perfectionism, you're not as relatable. The other 5% who may not like you because you're saying no, basically, you don't want them in your life anyway. Those people are users, and we don't want them in our life. And a lot of perfectionists are people pleasers. So we try to help them break the people pleasing habit. There was an interesting study where they asked people on hospice, people who are dying, their biggest regret in life. And they assumed there'd be something cliche like, oh, I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have worked less hard. I wish I would have taken more vacation. But by far, the number one answer was, I wish I would have cared less what other people thought. And the researchers, myself, I was just blown away by the insight that provided. So these are the first steps toward working on your perfectionism. Again, my name is Phil Borders. Thank you for your time.